Warhammer 40k and Helldivers 2. Yeah, we've waited a long time to say that together, and this time, Arrowhead has stopped painting miniatures and giving us teases to trailers as the official Warhammer Warbond is now here. There's everything from armor sets to Meltaguns, so let's get down to the nuts and bolts and just dive right in. We've seen the ramp up and the tease of the tease for the tease coming from Arrowhead, so we knew that things were getting close for the Helldivers Warhammer 40k Legendary Warbond collaboration. And now we've got the official trailer, along with the key art and a blog post to run through as well. And unlike previous 40k announcements, which basically showed off some of the studio devs painting miniatures and professing their love for the Emperor, everything we've got today is based in-game. So let's kick things off with the rundown, dates, and prices. Here's everything in the Warbond, which will be going live, listen to this, on Wednesday, August the 12th. And I'm going to assume this Legendary Warbond costs the same as every previous Legendary Warbond, so it's going to set you back 1,500 super credits. Now, if you aren't there with the credits yet, you've basically got about 2 weeks to farm a little bit in between your normal dives to top up your credit reserves. Also, at this point, we haven't heard anything about a superstore, but if this 40k Legendary Warbond is anything like the Killzone and ODST Warbonds, there won't be any superstore offerings. And since this is again a Legendary Warbond, there will also be no super credit unlocks built into the Warbond to basically give you back 300 credits while you're unlocking everything. And final point here, I promise, before we dive into everything, just keep in mind that the ODST Warbond took 637 medals to unlock everything, while the Killzone Warbond was just 562. And with the trend we've been seeing with Warbonds recently costing even more medals to fully unlock, case in point, Exo Experts was a hefty 778 medals to unlock everything. The point is, if you aren't currently at the medal cap, and let's say that you have limited times to dive, you've got up until August 12th to stock up on those medals as well. Okay, I've got a full breakdown prepared for you, covering all of these items along with my thoughts and comparisons along the way. But just for reference, you're going to be unlocking 2 new armor sets, the R40k Hotshot Marksman Rifle, the P40k Bolt Pistol, the 40k Meltagun, Meltamine, the new Castellan Green Vehicle Skin, the True Grit Armor Passive, which we'll talk about when we cover the armor. And I did want to mention right now, that is not a booster you see on your screens. That is actually the armor passive icon. You're also going to get 2 new player banners, 2 capes, and the still standing player title. And if you know, you know. What a classic, right? Anyways, here's what the blog has to say about this Warbond. Today, the Ministry of Defense Research and Development has unveiled the latest tactical solutions and implements of freedom for Super Earth's finest to repel hostile entities from across the galaxy. Helldivers. High Command is delighted to invite you to access the new Helldivers 2 Warhammer 40k Castellan's Creed Legendary Warbond. Inspired by one of the Astra Militarum most elite regiments, the 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 Cassican, this deployment of advanced firearms, armor, patterns, and more has been recreated in honor of the valiant Helldivers who gave their lives in a heroic last stand to defend the peaceful world of 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 during the First Galactic War. Now you have the opportunity to unleash a devastating new type of freedom on the battlefield in their eternal memory. Dive in, deploy out, spread managed democracy, all about. Anyways, moving on. The trailer shows us quite a bit of the 2 new armor sets, which both come with the True Grit passive. And there's the TG8 Sharpshooter, which is a medium set, along with the TG122 Demo Trooper, which is a heavy armor. So there is no light armor in this Warbond. Now, both of those numbers in the armor titles also carry weight within the Warhammer universe, as the 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 8th is an elite regiment of shock troopers nicknamed the Lord Castellan's Own. So you get some sense of what this Warbond represents. Speaking to the armor passive itself, True Grit will give players plus 20% weapon handling and plus 30% reload speed for support weapons. So these Warhammer armors will basically give you some of the handling buffs you get when wearing peak physique, which the last time I checked was a plus 30 increase to your weapon ergonomics. Plus, it's going to give you a version of Siege Ready, but instead of the 30% increased speed on your primary weapon reloads, True Grit swaps that over to your support weapons. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that combination of passives as well. So right now, drop me a comment. In general, I'm not a champion or fan of ergonomic armors. Wearing an armor set to combat the poor handling a weapon may have with its sway and drag, it feels, at least to me, that's a problem that was created when Arrowhead introduced those mechanics, and then they turned around and sold us back the solution with armor sets that, of course, give us better handling and ergonomics. Now, we'll have to wait and see what kind of ergonomics these Warhammer weapons have, but I prefer to use weapon customization to fine-tune my weapon handling versus an armor set and its passives. Support weapon reload speeds could be an interesting passive, I guess, especially if you were using something like, say, the heavy machine gun or the recoilless rifle. And we have several different armor sets right now in the game with better primary weapon reload speeds, like reinforced epaulettes and siege ready. Again, this could be an interesting mix. We're going to have to wait and see, especially if the Warhammer weapons have below average ergonomics to begin with. Because, again, remember, with this being a Legendary Warbond, we can't upgrade or customize these new weapons. But I want to say this again, I would have preferred to see something besides weapon handling to counter that annoying in-game system of ergonomics. Next up, let's dive into the weapons, and the R40K Hotshot Marksman Rifle is said to be a testament to 𝗙𝗲𝗋 craftsmanship. Again, harkening back to the planet 𝗙𝗲𝗃 from the original Helldivers game. It's said to be deadly at close range and even deadlier at long range. Now, throughout the trailer, we see the Hotshot basically picking off voteless, and, maybe that's Arrowhead's way of keeping their cards kind of close to the vest and not showing us what it can truly do and can't do in terms of power levels and armor pen. But, it would have been nice to see it like decimating a Hulk or maybe popping a Devastator in the chest so we could see if it was medium or even heavy armor pen. Melting Voteless doesn't really give us any clues as to what the weapon can do, and since the footage is mostly in slow-mo, we also don't get a sense for the Hotshot's rate of fire. Too bad that bipod won't work either, and it's just there for cosmetics. Other notables on this weapon are, of course, the lack of a stock, and that looks to be a 10 times zoom scope. The bolt pistol looks to be every bit of a bolt pistol. It has wicked recoil, and the diver in the trailer is popping warriors with it, which sadly, again, that doesn't give us any sense of what kind of armor pen this weapon truly has. Warriors are AP1. And later on in the trailer, the diver is tapping shriekers with it, which are completely unarmored. But it does look like the bolt pistol is at least hitting the warriors with explosive rounds, or at least that's the way it looks, as they're just liquefied. Now, I've already read a million comments saying get ready for a light armor pen bolt pistol, but if this thing truly arrives like a real Warhammer bolt pistol, this could be my new go-to secondary. It says in the blog that this weapon causes even the most hardened enemies to quiver in its presence, and if that description reads like that, maybe that's a clue that this weapon will be AP4 or heavy armor pen. Alright, let's talk throwables, and the Meltagun looks like it is tuned to trigger when a heavyweight enemy walks over it, as we see the bot troopers stepping over it, but the Hulk ends up setting it off, and the upwards explosive force is enough to destroy the Hulk and collect up some of the troopers as well. But be careful, because the blog says that this is a proximity activated burst mine that is dangerous to friend and foe alike, and if this thing's melting Hulks like that, imagine what it can do to a squad mate, a Helldiver vehicle, or even yourself. Now, don't get me wrong, it looks pretty beefy, but I foresee a lot of team kills getting racked up because of this mine. And finally, we've got the Meltagun. Now, the blog says that this is a short-ranged, superheated beam of thermal energy capable of reducing steel to slag. And of all the weapons in this trailer, the Meltagun footage at least gives us a little glimpse into what it can do. For the first sequence, the Helldiver is firing it at the back of an Annihilator tank engine bay, which has an armor value of 4, and the Meltagun, which fires a continuous beam, seems to destroy the tank from that angle. Later on in the trailer, they drive the FRV underneath a factory strider and zap the Meltagun upwards at the belly panels, which I believe are AP3. So if anything, based on that tank footage, I'm thinking the Meltagun is AP3 to AP4, of course, hopefully at the minimum AP4, but judging on the time it took to hit that tank, probably not anything like anti-tank levels of armor pen. There's some interesting items in this Warbond for sure, and we'll of course have to test it all out when it arrives, and I'll post an honest review for that somewhere around August 12th, again, when this Warbond launches. But I did want to say that what sticks out the most, at least to me, or at least concerns me the most, is the lasgun. Our Helldivers 2 Marksman rifles range from the upper 100s to 300 damage for the Deadeye, and all of them are either light or medium armor pen. If the lasgun arrives and it's another 200-ish damage Marksman rifle with AP2 or AP3, my fear is that it's going to immediately collect dust as players move on. Now personally, I'm not a fan of rifles in general, but when I do use them, I bring them out exclusively for popping automaton heads. So the lasgun is going to have to show me something special and unique for me to even consider using it. But as always, that's just my thoughts on it all, and I'd appreciate you leaving your feedback as well. Drop a comment with your thoughts on what we just saw in that trailer. Are you looking forward to the Warhammer Warbond? Is it a hard pass already for you, or are you cautiously optimistic? I want to hear what you have to say. If you found the video helpful, please hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell while you're at it. If you want to join these awesome channel members, hit the join button on the homepage to take advantage of special members-only perks. Until the next one, this is 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏